This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Thursday, the 11th day of March in the year 2021. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here's what we're tracking tonight. With schools across the country still closed as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Ministry of Education plans to move ahead with the sitting of this year's National Grade 6 Assessment Examinations. Education Minister Priya Chan announced this morning that the NGSA exams will take place on the 4th and 5th of August. The exams are usually hosted in March or April. Prior to the examination dates, the ministry will offer mock exams to prepare the students. There are no plans right now to reopen the schools before the examinations. The minister explained that the examinations will be fair and will not just cover work that should have been done in the 6th grade.
By far, in the majority, all across the different stakeholder groups, parents and teachers, the majority decision was that the preference was to have an exam. People felt that would be the fairest thing to do, and that it be both papers 1 and 2, multiple choice as well as the long answer, up to the grade 5 level, given that we have been out of school for a year and will probably be out a little bit longer. So what informed our decision was really what the people of this cohort wanted.
Based on the timeline that has been set for the sitting of the examination, parents and teachers have been given a 20-week period to get their children fully prepared for the examinations, which will determine their high school placement.
What we did was take out, minus, subtract, remove from that 40 weeks what we thought would have been covered already or will be covered later on. So what is left is what the experts here at the Ministry of Education, as well as internationally, believe children at that level absolutely need. The skills they need is what's left in, and that leaves 20 weeks of work. It actually works out to 17 weeks of actual work. Teachers have been trained and retrained 500 times, dozens and dozens of times, in how to deliver a curriculum. So its methodology remains the same. The content remained the same. What our training is really with the teachers is really to assure them that this is all that you need to do. There's nothing new, and to show how they have already been doing this.
There are 14,300 students listed to sit the exams this year. The Education Ministry has announced that the students will be given care packages containing worksheets, books, and other material to assist them in their preparation. But those packages will only be provided for students in the public education system.
Support to teachers. The teachers are going to have more resources now than they have ever had before in terms of textbooks and resources for students. So something as small as the science notes and social studies notes, a teacher doesn't have to create those anymore and call it out in front of the classroom and wait until our children write. Each child has it in their possession. Each teacher has the notes in their possession. Teachers wouldn't have to do schemes of work because the consolidated curriculum is designed in such a way that it removes all of that from the burden from the teacher. Of course, the professionals will tell you good teachers will still plan their lessons, but I think, and this is the time teachers will be supported this year more than ever before. Like I said,
the students who will be writing this year's examinations have been out of school for an entire year and were not exposed to any in-class and face-to-face learning. While some teachers provided online classes, it is suspected that a large number of students were unable to benefit from those virtual sessions. More news coming up in just a moment.
Guyana, we've been through it all.
But as a people we have
weathered every storm
and risen to every challenge.
Because it is the people of Guyana
that gives it its strength.
all the people,
regardless of race,
class, or religion.
We are one people, one strength.
And now is our time. A time to rise. Together, we rise.
Leadership, empowerment, success. International Decade for People of African Descent. Assembly, Guyana. Hands up, Pella, we started. Business, Pella, we started. Rise up, Pella, we started. We rap Froga your needs. Tell them, invest color we started. Business color we started. Success color we started. We rap Froga your needs. We are Froga your needs. Pride and success in we. Go check our history. Leadership in our youth. Tell them, we stand together united. With our business, go fight it. We rap Froga your needs. There's pride in we. Leadership in our youths, go check our history. We rap Froga your needs. Tell them, invest color we started. Business color we started. Success color we started. We rap Froga your needs.
Go spread the word in your area. We gonna end Filaria.
For the past 2 decades, the global community prioritized eliminating lymphatic filariasis, commonly known as Filaria, as a public health problem. Many countries in the Americas have achieved this goal.
We're looking to have 100% eradication of this disease in Guyana.
So we look forward to all of our citizens working with our teams from the Ministry of Health as they go around in our communities, meeting with you to administer this pills.
And I will encourage you all to take your pills so that we can once and for all rid Guyana of filariasis. We have to get rid of the negatives in relation to filaria. So please let the science be your guide and take the tablets.
My family would be taking their pills. I do hope that you would also be taking your pills so that we can together work on eliminating filaria from Guyana.
Filaria gonna get knocked out. TKO.
A message from the Ministry of Health in collaboration with PAHO.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right. Walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong. Be the one to live right.
Mom, what are you doing with GPL on your list?
Child, you forgot I have to pay GPL?
You got time with GPL?
I have to keep these lights on. The customers who think in that manner and refuse to honor their obligation to GPL are obviously not playing their part in ensuring quality service delivery. So, I will continue to pay my GPL bill on time, every time.
I recognize the value of your point, Mom. You were right.
Hi, Guyanese all. I am here urging you to take your filaria tablets. We have to get rid of the negatives in relation to filaria. And I just want to let you know that though there might be, not in all cases, might be some minimal effects, namely nausea and abdominal pain, in some of those who take, it would be important to understand that within 24 hours, these are going to go away. So please let the science be your guide and take the tablets.
Today marked 1 year since Guyana recorded its first case of coronavirus and its first COVID-19 related death. 1 year later, the number of confirmed cases and deaths continues to rise, as the Health Ministry appears to be placing all bets on the COVID-19 vaccine to stem the steep increase in numbers. In its latest report, the Ministry of Health revealed that the country has recorded 65 new cases of the disease in the past 24 hours, with the death toll climbing to 206 following the death of a 39-year-old woman from Region 10. Over 80 new cases were recorded just yesterday, and 9 deaths have been recorded already for this month. In total, since the first case in March of last year, the country has recorded 8,992 additional cases. But more than 8,200 persons have made full recoveries. When the pandemic first knocked at Guyana's doors, an emergency plan was unveiled and a strict 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew was instituted. The curfew and most of the measures that were put in place last year have since been relaxed, and the relaxation of those measures is being done at a time when the numbers are still climbing. Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony is now encouraging citizens over the age of 60 to take the COVID-19 vaccine. The ministry has started a national vaccination drive geared towards those above the age of 60. Health workers were the first to be offered the vaccine, and now those aged 60 and above are being offered a shot. Other frontline workers and essential persons are to be next in line for the vaccines. The country has so far received just over 100,000 COVID-19 vaccines. An additional 100,000 doses are expected soon. There are still calls for the government to ensure more enforcement of the COVID-19 restrictions, even as the business community continues to push for more reopening of the country. Opposition leader Joe Harmon today visited former Commissioner of the Guyana Lands and Surveys Commission, Trevor Ben, who remains in police custody facing allegations of land fraud. Ben, who served under the former coalition government as the head of the Lands and Surveys Commission, is being questioned in relation to the sale of 6 acres of land in Ogle in the east coast of Demerara. According to Mr. Harmon, the accusations being leveled against the former commissioner are trumped up and are designed to embarrass the former Lands and Surveys Commission boss.
Mr. Ben is in good spirit because he's confident that the police investigation so far, and I'm confident that even the investigations going forward, that they will find nothing. This is pure, outright harassment.
The opposition leader said he's not surprised that Ben was detained, noting that back in 2019, now Vice President Barrett Jagdeo, who was opposition leader then, had threatened to go after the Lands and Surveys Commissioner.
And it comes on the heels of statements that were made by Barrett Jagdeo since 2019 that he will go after Ben for any actions which he took as the Commissioner of the Guyana Lands and Surveys Commission. So this is expected. This is what he said he's going to do. And so this is nothing but any police investigation. This is pure, outright political harassment of Mr. Ben. And it is come after a long series of harassment of several other public servants who are actually carrying out their duties. But this is not going to end well.
Although he was arrested on Wednesday morning, Mr. Ben is still to be charged for any crime. So far, several allegations were put to him, and he was taken back to the CID headquarters today to answer further questions.
We stand firmly in support of Mr. Ben. We stand firmly in support of all of those public servants who were doing an honest job, who have been harassed, victimized, taken before the courts just so that they can embarrass and harass them.
APNU AFC Member of Parliament and trade unionist Coretta MacDonald also visited Ben today, and she has some concerns of her own.
Too many of our husbands, too many of our brothers and our uncles and our fathers are being harassed unnecessarily and are being criminalized. And I want to say to all and sundry, enough is enough. We have had enough of this, and we will have no more of it.
A candlelight vigil is being hosted this evening in front of the Brigdan Police Station over the ongoing detention of the former head of the Lands and Surveys Commission. While prayers move mountains and can reverse a decision in the Guyana Police Force. Hours after the police force gave marching orders to its chaplain, Pastor Patrick Dulachand, it has been forced to reinstate him. In a late-night statement on Wednesday, the Public Relations Office of the Police Force announced that Pastor Dulachand's removal as chaplain has been reviewed, and his dismissal letter has been withdrawn. Dulachand's removal as force chaplain came 1 week after he offered a blistering prayer at a police conference to rid the police force of its sins of bribery, corruption, racism, and injustice. While those in the audience said amen to the prayer, the top brass of the police force was not moved by the prayer and ordered the pastor's removal from the top position. However, after the announcement of his dismissal was made public, President Irfaan Ali, who was at a conference when the prayer was offered, expressed his disappointment with the removal of the chaplain. An embarrassed Guyana police force in its statement last evening said, contrary to what was stated in the letter that terminated the services of the chaplain, President Irfaan Ali has indicated that he appreciated the eloquent and forthright prayer by the force chaplain. Pastor Dula Chan has accepted his reinstatement and will continue to offer prayers for the entire Guyana police force and all of its sins. The Director of Public Prosecutions, Senior Counsel Shalimar Ali Haq, has advised that the alleged assault matter involving opposition MP Tabitha Sarabohali and Minister Kwame McCoy should be investigated by the Speaker of the National Assembly, Manzoor Nadir. The advice comes days after the police wrapped up its investigations and sought guidance on the way forward. The DPP said the alleged incident occurred in Parliament, and in such circumstances it is advised that the Speaker of the National Assembly deals with the matter under standing orders of Parliament. The opposition MP had filed a complaint with the police last week against Mr. McCoy, claiming that she was physically assaulted at the Otachang Convention Center by him. McCoy has since distanced himself from the allegation. Opposition MPs have already expressed reservations at the DPP's advice, stating that they have no confidence in Mr. Nadir to handle the matter properly.
We don't believe that the Speaker is the best person to handle this investigation, noting from what transpired in the House when the Speaker of the National Assembly was the first person in which MP Tabitha Sarabohali informed about the incident. And rather than dealing with the incident ASAP, we saw the continuation of the sitting of the National Assembly as if nothing transpired. Now that this matter has been sent back from the DPP to the National Assembly, we don't have confidence that the House is the best place to investigate or adjudicate this matter at all.
Opposition Chief Whip Christopher Jones. With the matter back in the hands of the Speaker and with no solid evidence from video footage retrieved, the Speaker will likely take statements from both the government and opposition members before bringing the matter to a close. Former minister in the APNU-AFC government, Simona Brooms, and her driver, Dexter Austin, walked free out of the Georgetown Magistrates Court this morning after assault charges against them were dismissed by Magistrate Delon Bess. The magistrate was forced to throw out the case for insufficient evidence, as the witnesses for the prosecution said they were not interested in offering any evidence in the case. The police prosecution had no other witness or evidence of the alleged incident. The charges stemmed from a confrontation Ms. Brooms and her driver had with PP Civic City Councillor Dion Young in August of last year, after he was caught removing signs from outside the former minister's house. Brooms and her driver were accused of unlawfully restraining Young and using threatening language. The two were also made to answer charges of causing public terror. They denied the charges. Ms. Brooms had erected several no-fishing signs around the area where she lives, and one day after President Ali was sworn into office, Young and another man were seen removing the signs. When she approached them, she alleged that she was verbally abused and threatened with a gun. In a live video of the incident, Brooms and her driver were seen trailing a motorcar moments after, and the incident ended in fire. Initially, the former minister had expressed shock that the charges were brought against her, and there were no charges filed against the men who threatened her outside her house. She always maintained that the charges were politically motivated and an attempt to embarrass her. Brooms and Austin were represented by attorney Nigel Hughes. Now for some good news for senior folks tonight. Old age pensioners now have additional options to cash those pension payments. The Ministry of Human Services and Social Security announced today that pensioners across the country will now be able to cash those pension vouchers at any MoneyGram, Bill Express, or SurePay location. The ministry said the move is to ease the hassle and long lines at the post offices, where seniors would have to cash those vouchers. According to the ministry, pensioners should be reminded that in addition to walking with their booklets, they will also have to walk with a form of ID to complete the transaction at the money transfer and bill payment companies. The Ministry of Human Services said that apart from encashing vouchers at the money transfer agents, pensioners can also access the payments through their respective banks or at post offices.
Guyana, we've been through it all.
But as a people, we have
weathered every storm
and risen to every challenge.
because it is the people of Guyana
that gives it its strength.
All the people, regardless of race, class, or religion.
We are one people, one strength.
And now is our time. A time to rise. Together, we rise.
Fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up. Fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guy Oil Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive. Go spread the word in your area. We gonna end Filaria.
For the past 2 decades, the global community prioritized eliminating lymphatic filariasis, commonly known as Filaria, as a public health problem. Many countries in the Americas have achieved this goal.
We're looking to have 100% eradication of this disease in Guyana.
So we look forward to all of our citizens working with our teams, but in the Ministry of Health, as they go around in our communities, meeting with you to administer this pills.
And I will encourage you all to take your pills so that we can once and for all rid Guyana of filariasis.
We have to get rid of the negatives in relation to filaria. So please let the science be your guide and take the tablets.
My family would be taking their pills. I do hope that you would also be taking your pills so that we can together work on eliminating filaria from Guyana.
Filaria gonna get knocked out. TKO.
A message from the Ministry of Health in collaboration with PAHO.
Hi, I am the Hoodoo Mayor of Rosalton. I have just taken my filaria pills and I'm calling on everyone, especially the residents of Rosalton, to take theirs and the population of Guyana at large so that we can help to eliminate this disease. Please make a special effort and do so. Thank you very much.
Due to the impacts of the global pandemic, COVID-19 across our nation, essential organizations like us have chosen to adopt innovative approaches to meet the emerging needs of our customers while protecting our employees. Here are some quick tips to make managing your GPL bill easier while we practice social distancing. To register for electronic billing, you can use the e-billing tab on your website. To access your bill balance, you can use 4 options: the website live chat at gpl.net, the online inquiry on our website under billing, SMS Freedom by texting your GPL reference number to 624-0400 or 608-8400, or call our call center at 226-2600. A message from the Guyana Power and Light Incorporated.
Across the region right now, UN human rights experts are investigating allegations that Venezuelan police forces have killed more than 200 people this year, and it has raised concerns about possible summary executions. The UN investigators said the authorities have failed to release death certificates, charged fees for autopsies, and delivered bodies in a closed casket with the instruction that it is not to be opened. Venezuela's delegation dismissed the allegations without addressing them specifically. Venezuela's foreign ministry later said in a statement that it rejected the mission's false accusations. At least 23 people died over the weekend in a clash between the police and gangs in Venezuela, according to news reports and activists, as the government faced international scrutiny for killings by security forces. The Premier in the Cayman Islands has announced that the mandatory quarantine period across the territory will be reduced to 10 days from the 22nd of March. The Premier made the announcement as Cayman reached its target of vaccinating 90% of the over 60 population. There are approximately 5,000 people living in the Cayman Islands who are age 60 or over. During a news conference, the Premier said the Cayman had reached a much anticipated milestone, and more than 91% of that population had been vaccinated. Starting on the 22nd of March, persons arriving in Cayman who have been vaccinated at least 2 weeks beforehand will only need to be in isolation for 10 days, rather than the current 14 days. Travelers to the Cayman Islands will continue to be required to provide a negative PCR test result that must have been taken at least 72 hours before travel, as well as negative result from a test taken at the airport upon arrival. And finally tonight, international news. US President Joe Biden has signed a $1.9 trillion economic relief bill that aims to help Americans impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic into law. The bill includes $1,400 payments, an extension of jobless benefits, and a child tax credit that is expected to lift millions out of poverty. President Biden said the relief package will rebuild the backbone of the U.S. The spending bill, one of the largest in U.S. history, passed Congress without a single Republican supporter. Mr. Biden is due to give a primetime address later tonight to tout the bill's provisions. He and other Democrats will also hold a signing ceremony at the White House on Friday. The sixth COVID-19 relief bill is a major legislative win for Mr. Biden, according to the BBC. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.